Okay, we're up to Sotah Daf Chaf Aleph. Up to Sotah Daf Chaf Aleph, beginning from Chaf Amid Beis, a few lines up, about 10 lines up. So the Mishnah had said that if the woman was guilty, she had taka bin mizana. We have Shimon. We have Gemara. Okay, at the at the mizana. In fact, you were mizana. It's possible she have a schus to keep her alive as much as 3 years, 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. And amazingly enough, 3 years later, she blow up. I'll ask how. Listen, if she blows up in the first place, she can keep it in the system a long time. It's make a difference, right? So the Gemara wants to know who exactly is the title of the Mishnah. It says the Mishnah, Money must yeshlas chus taisa. Money must nisan. Lo yabi Yosi ben Chanan, v'lo Reb Eliezer ben Yitzchak, ish kvar daroim, v'lo Rabbi Yishmael. None of these Tanoim are going to fit because their zmanim of the zmanim of being toilo are not 1 or 2, 3 years. It's much different. The Tanya. Right, 3 months. Why 3 months? Kedei hakaras ha'uba, and it takes 3 months to recognize a pregnancy. Divrei Rabbi, Divrei Abba Yosi ber Chana. 3 months to recognize a pregnancy, and he darshins the pasuk v'niksal yidei schus kedei v'nizra zera. In other words, she have a schus to go ahead and have a child. So after 3 months, it's recognizable. Ben Yitzchak Amar ish kvar dor ma'amer tes chadashim, the full term pregnancy. Shenemar v'niksa, and she will be cleansed. V'nizra zara will halon oimer, and it says by Tehillim, it says zera ya'avdenu yisubar. What does that mean? Zera roy l'saper, zera that roy l'saper that eventually will be able to come to talk. So 9 months will come to talk. But in other words, one says 3 months, one says 9 months, but no one says what? 3 years. But no one says 3 years. He's the closest one. He says a year. Now, this is an Aramaic pasuk that's discussing Daniel giving advice to Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar is told by Daniel, you're going to be Kahak the Tsaris, you're going to all the wishes you did, and he told him that what you have to do to go ahead and at least stall it is give tzedakah, do chesed. Okay, so here's what he tells him, the lashon. I'll read as best as I can. I don't have the Kudus in front of me. So he says the following. Daniel says to him, it says the chsiv that when Daniel speaks to Nebuchadnezzar, he says, Lo hein malka, you're the melech, milki yishbar Allah, my eitzah that to you, the chatoch b'tzidchach puruk, and your chait in tzedakah will be puruk, will be like pirka, will be redeemed. The avyosach b'michan anoyin, and your ovain will be poideh through what? By b'michan anoyin, how you're going to treat aniyim. Pain to have a archa l'shleivas, and then will be what? A source of shalom for you. Right? That what is the source of shalom? That this raw that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that's going to come onto you is going to be delayed, and that's what we're discussing here by the Sotah. It's going to be delayed. And how long was it over there? Ukasiv koila mitah on Nebuchadnezzar Malka. All the peronius came on all the punishment came. What? When liksa yarchin treyasa came after what? 12 months. So Memela says to Rabbi Yishmael the same thing. This woman, Nebuchadnezzar, his punishment was delayed 12 months, has also be delayed 12 months. The bottom line is we got 3 months, 9 months, and a year. We don't have 2 years or 3 years, right? We don't have any of that. So it says the Gemara, Lo'ilam Rabbi Yishmael. Lo'ilam, I'll tell you it's Rabbi Yishmael. And he, even though he said what? 1 year, V'ashkekra da'amar v'tani, Rabbi Yishmael found the pasuk that a Kadosh Baruch Hu can be Ma'arich the Zman up to 3 times. So he said a year. That year can be times 3. Where does he see that? A pasuk in Amos. Koyamar Hashem al shloisha pishay edaim va'al abo lo yashivena. In other words, 3 years I'll delay it, but the 4th year not. Now, so l'chayra, it's very, very good, right? L'chayra, you have a raya from Rabbi Yishmael that he's the Tan of the Mishnah. Why did it say a year times 3? The schos could be 3 years. That now,
this person is talking about years from Vegas, no?
What? I'll cut you slack for 3 years. This is an Aveira, right? In other words, the Nebuchadnezzar did an Aveira, right? He was over Avodah Zarah. So we're saying that a Kadosh Baruch Hu can be Ma'arif Af, he can hold his anger for 3 years. So too by this woman, she did an Aveira, he can hold it for 3 years. So now, So now, l'chayra, the Gemara said that it's a zeichel ledava. The Gemara was like, "My afishin in raya ledava zeichel ledava." Why is it only a zeichel? Why is it not a raya brura? Right? Why is it not a clear cut raya? Says Madul Mishani Avi Kechavim. Maybe the very Nebuchadnezzar, which is by the Zara, play mafkedina alayu. In other words, goyim who are over by the Zara, they don't get punished right away because they get punished in the next world. The Jew gets punished right away. So the fact that in Judaism, the fact that the Isha Sotah is being given a suspended sentence is not a raya from the Nebuchadnezzar. The Nebuchadnezzar gets right; he gets his reward in this world. So maybe 3 years they cut him 3 years slack because he's a guy, and he's going to get punished in the next world. Mashenkin the Sotah, who is a Jew, right? Therefore, it's only a zeich ledava, not a raya ledava. Of course, it doesn't make a difference. It what? Oh yeah, she has a schus. You don't know what? You didn't get the schus yet. We only dealt with the zman of the schus. We didn't get to what the schus was. No. You can ask. You're asking a good question, and I'm glad that you're up and listening. And what? You said the menu kept you up. Okay, and no, Dov. We didn't say what the schus was yet. We just said the zman of the schus. Harold, you
the first chus was something she did prior. His chus is going to be going forward.
So it doesn't make a difference. All we care about is the time.
Okay.
Okay, all we care about is the time.
Thank you. You can go back to.
This is a little time ago. Laid you back. Participating in the next.
Okay. Anyway,
What time is that from?
is this all the pent up time of a Pesach? You're getting it last licks.
I have to work off the calories.
Okay, now, this is a very famous Gemara. V'yesh schus toila gimel shanim, now schus demai. Bob Sandberg's question. What schus is this? Schus demai. Ilem is schus de Torah. She has a schus de Torah that'll keep her alive. But eina mitzvah v'oisa. She is not mitzvah v'oisa. In other words, even if the woman learns, she is not mitzvah v'oisa, right? She's not. So therefore, it can't be that she learned Torah. It must be schus the mitzvah. It must be the schus of a mitzvah. Now, schus the mitzvah mi meganya kulehai. Can the schus of a mitzvah really go ahead and protect you from yisurim so much? Vatanya ezu darish Rabbi Menachem bar Yosi kiner mitzvah v'Torah ar. Right? Tala hakosev es mitzvah b'ner. The mitzvah is compared to light. As the Torah be'or. As a mitzvah b'ner loy melacha. Man ner eina megina elul fisha. It's only as long as it's lit. Guys, as long as it's lit, the oil is there. So therefore you have a time span. Af mitzvah eina megina elul fisha. That's a Torah be'or loy melacha. Ma'or megan la'olam. Just like or the light itself is megan la'olam. Af Torah megina la'olam. Okay, so therefore it's hard to say that the woman who does a mitzvah would be enough to be Taila. Bishlema, if she was mitzvah in Torah, we can understand. But if it's only what a mitzvah, not. But this is what we say by the Siyim. We have to just get into it. So when you go, it'll lead you. The Torah will lead you. When you lie down, it'll watch you. Like when you get up, it'll be what your words. And we darshan that Torah will go ahead and lead you in this world. The shachma tishmar alecha zu misa, right? Even b'shas misa, like itzaisa zechait, like itzaisa sisichecha, and when you wake up, it'll be what? It'll be an advocate for you. Lasid lavai, right? So now we give a mashal adam again. We're just digressing, but basically the kasha is the kasha. We're gonna learn long-winded Gemara, but the kasha is what schus does she have to survive? So period, and even as much as 3 years, right? And it can't be Torah; she's not mitzvah v'vaisa. It can't be mitzvahs because mitzvahs is not megina to the extent that she needs it to be mogen. Good. So now, what's the mashal? A person who's going on the way at night, it's total darkness. He's scared of the thorns, the potholes, the thistles, he's got a lot of things to worry about. He doesn't know where to go. Nisdamin le'abuka shalar. He gets a torch. Nitzum min hakoitzim umin abchasim. Said he's not, and he's not going to run into any obstacles, and he won't run into any potholes. V'adayim misyore, and he's still scared what of michaya ro min alistim. The enoydeya the eza derech mahalach. He doesn't know where to go. He's still, he can see, but he doesn't know where to go. Once the morning star comes up, Nitzol michaya ro min alistim. They go back to where they are. V'adayim enoydeya the eza derech mahalach. He still doesn't know where to go. Higila pashas terachim. Then Nitzal Mikula. Once he gets to the Pashas Drachim and he can see where to go, he's Nitzal Mikula. So what is we'll see. The Gemara is going to discuss this exactly what the meaning of this mashal is. We're going to discuss the meaning of this mashal. Okay? So Bez Hashem. Now, Davar Acher, Aveira Mechaba, right? Mitzvah. And Aveira can wipe out a mitzvah, Vein Aveira Mechaba Torah. But Aveira can't be Mechaba Torah. So in other words, we're going ahead and showing the chashivas of Torah, either kiner mitzvah of Torah or an Aveira has the capacity to go ahead and wipe out a mitzvah, but it can't wipe out Torah. Shnemar, where the pasuk says in Shir Hashirim, get to the whole pasuk. Haviani el beis hayayin v'diglo elai ava, right? And it says. Mayim Rabim lo yuchlu chabes says ava. That Mayim Rabim is not able to go ahead and get rid of ava. Mayim Rabim, Mayim over here is Averis, guys. The Mayim usually is Torah, over here means Averis. Ava is Torah, Rashi says. So Mayim Rabim, a lot of Averis, lo yuchlu chabes says ava, they're not capable of wiping out ava of Torah. They're not capable of wiping out Torah. Okay? So Yayin is in Gematria, Rashi brings his soid. That yayin in Gematria soid, and the pasuk says Hamevia el beis hayoyin is right. That meaning you're going to the soid of Torah, and the vidiglo elai ava. So therefore you see that Torah is compared to yayin and ava. So you have a kasha. What's that kasha? Again, after the long-winded brayso, so you got a kasha. If she can't learn Torah, or she has a mitzvah, and a mitzvah is not going to do the job. Either kinei mitzvah Torah or it's not enough, or because Averis is machba es ava. It gets rid of what it can't. It gets rid of can't get rid of Torah, but it could get rid of mitzvahs. So what's the pshat? So we're going to have a teretz, guys. And the teretz is that einachinami. The mitzvah, it could go ahead and protect you. A mitzvah could protect you. It can't stop the guys. Here's the teretz. Mitzvah can't stop the Yetzer Hara from. But it could protect you. That's the teretz, guys. Mitzvah, when it says that vis-a-vis, when it says that mitzvah is only a ner, that means vis-a-vis what? Protecting you from Averis, but protecting you from Yisurim, that it could do. That's the teretz. In other words, guys, that's all. Kash and teretz. Again, it's one of these gemaras that you say a lot of words, but you have to get to the bottom line, and you can sometimes miss the bottom line. We got a kasha. What's a kasha? The Mishnah says that what? You have a toilah, you could be safe as much as 3 years. But what schus does she have to be toilah? It's not Torah, it's mitzvahs, and mitzvah is not enough. And for the Gemara, mitzvah is enough. Why? What do you do with what we just said? It's compared to Torah, it's nothing. You're right. Torah has the capacity to do two things. It can protect you from Yisurim. It also can help you fight the Yetzer Hara. Barasi Yetzer Torah, Barasi Torah Tavlin, right? It can go ahead and protect you. Mitzvahs can go ahead, right, and protect you from Yisurim. They can't stop the Yetzer Hara. But all we need to do is protect you from Yisurim. That's what we're talking about over here. So Mamela, you got a teretz. You got a teretz. Where do you see that mitzvahs can protect you from Yisurim? We're about to see that right now. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Yosef. Mitzvah, be'idna the asikba, when you're being asik in the mitzvah, megana umatzla. It protects you and saves you. Be'idna the loy asikba, and when you're not asik in it, egune magna, it goes ahead and protects you from Yisurim, which is what we need. But it's suli loy matzla, it won't protect you out from the Yetzer Hara. Good? Torah, bein be'idna the asikba, bein be'idna the loy asikba, as long as you learn it, Magna umatzla. You know what it's going to do? It's going to protect you from Yisurim and protect you out from and from the Yetzer Hara. So now that's your teretz, guys. Guys, you got the teretz, right? Magna, it protects you from Yisurim. That's all I wanted to know. So that you wanted to know what protected the women? She did mitzvahs. Maskav lo rava or rabba rava. That's rava. El miyata. You're telling me that Torah protects you from doing averis? Yeah. Doig v'achi toifel miloi aski b'toira. Now, doig and achi toifel, guys. The Gemara in Chelik says these two people have no Chelik in Elam Haba. Doeg was the advisor of Shaul. He writes on Shaul against David. He said he was the Abe Haroyim. It's the lashon of the. It's amazing. It's Abe Haroyim. He was the head of the shepherds. He was the gadol in learning. He was a huge Talmud Chacham, and he died at 33, 34 years old. Achitophel was Miyayitz David to go against. Miyayitz Avshalom to go against David. He was the support of the rebellion, and they didn't listen to him. They listened to Hushai, and he went and hung himself. Also at the age of 30, half his life. They have no chelik in Haba. Now, what these two people, l'chayra, they had Torah. So you tell me that Torah could protect you, right? You tell me Torah can protect you. Now, in fact, the Gemara says that Achitophel, that David forgot all this Torah, guys. It's like Yom, he forgot all this Torah. So the Gemara in Chelik says all this Torah was mesafo l'chutz. All this Torah was from his lips and outward. That's all this Torah was from lips and outwards. And Achitophel hung himself. So they both had the sad endings. But anyway, bottom line is, the question conceptually, if you're telling me Torah can protect you from a Yetzer Hara, then why in the world did Achitophel and Doeg suffer? Why didn't it protect? Ella, because this question, Amar Rava, Torah be'idna da asik ba megano matzla. If you learn it, then it does both. It protects you from past averis and it protects you from the Yetzer Hara. Be'idna da asik ba. When you're not learning it, egune megana from past averis, but it's suli loy matzla, it won't save you from the Yetzer Hara. Mitzvah, bein beidna da asikba, bein beidna da asikba, egune magna, that's all we need. That mitzvahs, even if you're not doing them, it will protect you. It's suli loy matzla, but it won't save you from Yetzer Hara. The bottom line is, the mitzvahs, say according to Rabbi Yosef, say according to Rabbi, what's all we need? Magna, it protects you from past Yisrael. Any questions? Yeah.
Didn't we learn that a woman has exclusive Torah that she sends her son?
Very good. How would you know that he jumped ahead? We'd like to believe you. It's very good. Very good. You're mechavan to Ravina's teretz. Okay. Ravina's teretz, guys, is like Rabbi saying, that a woman, she is Messiah, her husband to learn, and a child to learn. And that makes her a mitzvah v'aisa. In other words, according to this teretz, Ravina's teretz, einachinami. If you're not mitzvah v'aisa, it's not going to save you, right? But Ravina can argue, Rabbi Yosef can argue, Rava. He says she's saved in the schus of how she helps her husband and helps her son. And since they are mitzvah v'aisa, and she's Messiah them, it's as if there's a Gemara, there's a Ran in the beginning of Kedushin. I'll tell you exactly where it is. The Ran at the beginning of the second paragraph. There's women are not mitzvah in Pirivya. Women are not commanded in Pirivya. You tell the girl that, tell your wife that, Now, why did they not mitzvah? We saw the Gemara, guys, the Gemara in Yavamis, right? We said that what we said, go out and capture. The ones who are in the Bechal capturing and mitzvah in Pirivya. The one that's not mitzvah capturing is not mitzvah in Pirivya. So, and you ask a good question. We can't do it alone, right? So says the Ran, since they're Messiah b'mitzvah, they get schar like they did the mitzvah themselves. In other words, Messiah b'mitzvah, someone who's Messiah, someone who helps someone perform a mitzvah, it's as if they did it themselves. So here also, since we're going to see they help their child and their husband learn, it's as if they did it themselves. And that'd be a very good shmaka teretz, which Ravina says right now. It says Ravina Amar, La'olam s'chus Torah. They have the schus of Torah, not the schus of mitzvahs. They have the schus of Torah. U'da ka'armid eina mitzvah v'oiseh. Good. Nehide pekudei loy mifkeda. Nonetheless, be'igra demakrin, in the igra of their sons chumish, umasnoyin and their mishnayis, benayu of their sons, v'natchuluhu legavrayu ad the asim medrash. They wait for their husbands to come from their medrash. In those days, men would go away for a long period of time. Men would go away for a long period of time to learn. Milay palga ba'adayu. Don't they split it with them? Right? Good. So very good. So now you have two terutzim. You have Rabbi Yosef's teretz and Rabbi's teretz, the schus of the mitzvah, because the mitzvah is mugging from what? Yisurim, and you have the schus, and you have Ravina's teretz, and Achinami, they have the schus of Torah, mitzvah v'oisa, al yedei what? Their husbands and al yedei their sons. Huh? Rabbi Akiva, that's for sure, right? Shali v'shalcha kula shala. Yep. Now, my Pashas Drachim. It's we said when a guy reaches Pashas Drachim, man, not the crossroads. Kenny. Okay, anyway, not that crossroads, Kenny. Anyway, my Pashas Drachim. Rav Chisda says, Rav Chisda, Zeh Talmud Chacham v'Yom HaMisa. That's a Talmud Chacham, the Talmud Chacham and the Yom HaMisa. In other words, he's a Talmud Chacham, and in his whole life, you never know what's going to be until the end. Now, at the end, you know that what? He's not going to go ahead and be parik the oil. He kept it throughout his life. You never know what's going to be. He never was parik oil. So that's Pashas Drachim means you reach the end of the road. You reach the road. There you are. That's the Rav Chisda's type. Rav Nachman Yitzchak Amar Zeh Talmud Chacham v'Yiras Chet. I want to see Rashi in this, guys. About 4 lines down when it gets wide. V'Yiras Chet. Zacha liyiras chet. The Talmud Chacham is zacha to yiras chet. Ach eshe zacha l'Torah nitzel mekulam. If you're zacha to Torah, it's gonna go ahead, guys, and save you from everything. Why? Sha Torah miladatoi divrei mitzvah, with the divrei issa. Torah is going to teach you the mitzvahs and what's aser. Umemashu tzarich lifresh. And what he has to stay away from. In other words, ein amar it's chassid. You got to know something, guys. However, the yiras chet monoi milirdev achra yitzrei, and yiras chet will stop you from going after Yetzer Hara. So it's very interesting. Torah helps you to get to yiras chet, and then yiras chet will stop you from going what? It's like two parts. Like you have Torah, and it'll teach you what to do, and then now you'll know to be yiras chet, and once yiras chet, it'll save you from the Yetzer Hara. So that's how he learns Pashas Drachim, according to Rav Nachman Yitzchak. What? Again, women are different. Trust me. Mazucha says, "Zeh Talmud Chacham desolkale shmaitza aliba de hilchasa." It says Rashi v'achi kamar. Allah namra shachar. If the morning star comes up, nitzu min achaya min alistim. Zoich l'Torah. Nitzu mi Yetzer Hara umin achet. But he doesn't know where to go. So the nimshal that the Allah Shach comes up is that he has a clarity because of Torah. However, he still doesn't know where to go. If he's Zaychav from Shemayim, that his word should be accepted. You know, that he's Zaychav to this, and he's Nitzach from everything. That his words, a special schus, that his word should be what? Accepted. So 3 pshatim. You have the Pashas Drachim, that his Torah was there, the Misa, or that he has yiras chet as a result of his Torah, or his Zaychav that the Pashas Drachim at the end of the road is you know, you have a lot of people who pass in halacha, but how many Moshe Feinsteins, right? You know, there was a bottom line. This is. I'll tell you a story, guys. This is not necessarily to be Zaycha in halacha, but this is Siyat Ishmaya Sfarim. You know, I heard this from my Rabbi, or else I wouldn't say it of myself. He said that the Nesivis was bigger than the Ketzais. The Nesivis HaMishpat was bigger than the Ketzais. He was bigger. But how many people are in the Nesivis and how many people are in the Ketzais? The Ketzais is learned like throughout. So there's a story that they had a conversation. The Ketzais said, the Nesivis said, "What do you do?" He goes, "I get up in the morning, I write a sefer in the Nesivis." He goes, "What does Ketzais do?" He goes, "I get up in the morning, I write a sefer Ketzais." "What do you do?" "In the evening, I rip it up, and then in the morning, I write it again." In other words, that he did it over and over again. But this is Siyat Shmait Sfarim. Another very, very. I still remember when the Kahati came out, Mishnayos Muvu Eres, how Mishnayos became much more learned in the world. You know, you had the Yachin, the Boaz, the Rav. People were learning Mishnayos, but it wasn't as widespread. The Kahati came out; it was an unbelievable piece of work. It really, shaking your head. It brought out Art Scroll. I mean, what Art Scroll did, it's an unbelievable thing that people bring about. It's a schus that your svarim should be in this kabel, right? It's not everyone it is. It's a big schus. It's a big schus. Anyway, Rav Yosef, Darshay Rabbi. No, I skipped. I skipped. Okay, now. Davar Acher, and there will be a 2 pshat and why Torah is bigger than a mitzvah, right? Because the first shot was a mitzvah of Torah. The second one's what? That a chait can override a mitzvah, but it can't override Torah. That's what we said. Okay, so davar acher, avera michba mitzvah, and avera can wipe out a mitzvah. Vein avera michba Torah. Rabbi Yosef, Darshi Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yosef lahai kroa ki Sinai. He dashed in this pasuk like Sinai. The ilmale darshu doyeg v'achitofel hachi leirafu basa David. They went to chase after David. The Chsiv, the pasuk says, Leimar Elikim azavu, Hashem left him. Ridfu chase v'tivshua ki ein matzel. There's no one want to save him. They thought that, guys. Now there is a girsa. The Taisus Rush takes out doeg from here, guys. The Taisus Rush takes out from doeg. Doeg wasn't alive at the time of Avshalom's rebellion. Doeg was long dead. He died b'mei Shal. He died b'mei Shal. Achitofel was Bathsheba's grandfather. Bathsheba's father was Eliam, and Eliam was the son of Achitofel. And Achitofel felt that David was over on the issue of Ish when he took Bathsheba away from Uriah, and therefore he felt that David was guilty, and therefore he joined the rebellion. So had he darshan this pasuk correctly, right, then he would have lived. My darish, what did he darshan? It says Lo yira b'cha ervas dava. It says that what you should not see an ervas dava. You should not see a matter of iniquity. V'shav me'acharecha. And what happens? That as a result of this, that he felt that David didn't have schus because of this thing. Mitzvah, good. Aver can take a mitzvah. But he can't go ahead and take away Torah. And David had discussed the Torah. So had he darshan this correctly, he never would have been what? He never would have rebelled. Now the pasuk says in Shir Hashirim, the pasuk says, "Vim yitain ish es kol hoin beisai ba'ava." If a person gives all his money ba'ava, boys yivuzaloi, it surely will be a scorn for him. Now what does that mean? Ama ula, like Shimon Achi Azariah, but like Rabbi Yochanan ben Asiyah. Now Shimon ben Achi Azariah and Yochanan ben Asiyah, they had a Yisachar Zvulun relationship. Rabbi Shimon had it with his brother Azariah, and Rabbi Yochanan had it with the Nasiya, that they would support. So those people, we don't say that giving money for Torah is a Yevuzalay. It's going to be a source of scorning for him. Ela Kehil v'Shavna. The Hillel had a brother Shavna. What do you know about Hillel, guys? The Gemara in Yuma. What do you know about Hillel? Is a little boy. You all learned this, guys. He went to Pirchei, right? When you went to Pirchei, there was snow on the roof, right? They didn't let him in. He was so poor. So we said that Hillel's going to be Mechayev the Aniyim, right? Hillel's going to be Mechayev the Aniyim. So he had a brother Shavna who showed up and said, listen, I got this great idea. You've been learning Torah a lot of years. Let me give you money and we'll split it. After the fact, we'll split it. So that's what he says. The Chiyasar of Dimi Amma Hillel the Shavna Achi Havi Hillel Aski b'Torah Shavna Asik Biska. He was in business. L'Seif Amalei Shavna said to Hillel, Tei Nerav, go ahead, V'liflik, we'll split it up. Yatzik Baskavamar and Yitanish is called Hom Beso. If you give all the money in the world, boys, Yavuza boy, it's going to be a bazayim for you. That's not the relationship of Yisachar and Zavulun. The relationship of Yisachar and Zavulun is before he begins to learn, right? Before he begins to learn, that's what we're talking about. That is what we're talking about, right? Okay, where does this come in? Okay, very good. Guys, good. Everything's good. So Baruch Hashem. So you have this list title. Amid base. Now we said the following. The Mishnah said that Ben Azai said, therefore you should teach your daughter Torah. Why? Here's this girl. She was Mizana. She's going to be really confident and she's going to drink. And she's going to say, look, I didn't blow up. And she's going to go ahead and say the Torah is not true. So what's to avoid that? What should you do? Teach her epis that she should know. 1 second. Hello, pashut. It's not pashut that you're going to blow up. There are other factors. Ken Zayin, that you had this Torah. You were a Mizana, but you took the kids to school before you were Mizana, right? You know, you did something good, right? So maybe that'll keep you alive. Your husband's away. Says the Gemara. Anyone who teaches his daughter Torah is teaching her tiflis. That tiflis, guys, is a lashon of znus. So what does it mean? You're teaching your daughters nus. Amra bavo, my time with Rabbi Lazar, dichsiv, ani the tiflis sakadaitach el ema ki'ilu lamda tiflis, as if you taught tiflis, right? Amra bavo, my time with Rabbi Lazar, dichsiv, ani chachma shachanti arma, kim shenichnasa chachma ba'adam nichnasa imay armumis. A person goes ahead and you learn Torah, so armimis comes into the person. Now armimis means that you know how to, legally loopholes, whole different things. There's legal loopholes to everything if you learn a little Torah. So all the Mefarshim say nashim adaitem kalas, and they'll use it in not in the positive way. They'll use it in the negative way. Now I sent out something. I think this is kedai to see. I sent out something. Take a look. I'll put it on the screen in a second from the Chafetz Chaim, and a very very nice piece from the Chafetz Chaim about teaching your daughter Torah. And he was speaking about his time and Kol Shekain in our times. Hopefully you can see that. You can blow it up. Kasav Chafetz Chaim Likutei Halachos. The Chafetz Chaim writes in the Likutei Halachos. What does he write? V'naktinu la'alacha kishitas Rebbe Eliezer, that you should not teach your daughter Torah. Because the Ravusa a chiddush. The hainu dafka Torah shebal peh, dafka to teach a Gemara, which is armimus. Avol Torah shebechsav chumash. Af she'en lelamda lechatchila, even though lechatchila you shouldn't teach a chumash. V'komakam hamelamda eina kimelamda tiflis. If you do teach it to her, it's not like you're teaching a tiflis. V'gam miTorah shebal peh hadinim hashaychin leisha chayav l'umayd. Even at Torah shebal peh, the things that are shaykh to an isha you should teach. This is all the Chafetz Chaim writing this. Because of Shab Mahagah in the Sefer, V'nira the Chol Zeh Dafka not to teach Torah is Bizmanim Shel Fanenu. The previous days, the days from before. Shekol Echad Haya Dar B'Makam Avaisav. You had the nuclear families; they lived together. The Kabbalah Sa'avais Haya Chazik Ma'id, and the Kabbalah from the father, the Masorah from the father was strong. Eitzel Kol Echad Echad Lisnaig B'Derech Shedarka Avaisav, to go in the ways of their what? The Altaheim, right? You go in the ways of what was what? Shomer HaKosev Shalavicha V'Yagetcha. Ask your father, and he'll tell you. B'zeh Dahainu Yecholim Leimash Leitil Matayra V'Tismach BeHanhaga Shel Avosel HaYesharim. You'll be. My mother Zolzain Gesund never went to a school in her life. My grandmother never went to a school in her life, but there was a Messiah. There was a Messiah. You didn't have to go to school. They didn't have to learn Torah. Says the Chafetz Chaim, Avol ke'es ba'avonaseinu arabim. Shekabbalah always this Reifeif Ma'oid. The Messiah has gotten weakened. Guys, the Chafetz Chaim died in 1933, so he wrote this in the turn of the century. That now it's and Al Achas Kama V'Kama Benosham V'Kavachomer in our times, right? Ma'od that it's become very very Ma'od. V'Gam Motzui She'ena Dar B'Makam. They don't live together. Klal, they go and they learn other languages. Mitzvah rabba lelamdoi chumash. Says the Chafetz Chaim, it's a mitzvah rabba to teach them chumash. V'gam neviim b'kesuvim u'maisrei chazal and musa. Kigoy mesechta avis like Pirkei Avos u'b'sefer menaris hamar u'chedayma tzenerena kidei. That what? Sheyis ames etzlam inyan amunasei hakadaisha the lav hachi, and the lav, you don't have this. The lav hachi, although it's possible, sheyisur legamri miderech Hashem, they'll turn away. The Yavri kol yisoy the adas, they'll leave Judaism chas v'shalom. Says the Chafetz Chaim so prophetically how bisman hazeh it's a mitzvah to go ahead and teach them l'chatchila, to teach them what's nageya them in chumash, in Musar, and even the Gemaras that are gave them to ensure that there's a Messiah of Yadis that has been weakened, that we should be able to offset that with the limit of Torah. I thought it was a very, very fine piece, right? I thought it was a very, very important piece to see. Definitely blog worthy. Yeah, someone works in a girls' school, right? But I'm retiring, so I don't. Okay, anyway, so that's the Chafetz Chaim. So continues the Gemara. Now the Rabbanon who say that you should teach Torah. Hi ani chachma maya avdelei. A person who makes them literally orim without clothing on them, says Rashi. What does orim mean? Shepirish mikol oskim. He leaves all his business. V'nasa Allah ani v'chaser. Orim means a person Torah is kind by people who past melach teichel b'mayim shurim tishta. People who are not busy with business, who are busy learning. They make themselves. Shenemar ani chachma shachanti arma. Like a person makes himself like he's not. Shenemar v'chachma me'ayin timatzei. V'chachma me'ayin from nothing timatzei. Me'ayin, guys, is Gematria 101. Gemara says in Chagiga Daf Tes, how many times you're supposed to learn 101 times, right? So it says v'chachma me'ayin timatzei. You know where it's found? By a guy. Ashrei misha bo lekan. The Talmud B'Yodei, Lakan, 101. Narami Kano. Anyone who comes like 101 times, you should go ahead and learn. Says the Gemara Vaita. Rabbi Shua says, "Roitz Isha b'kav v'tiflis imoi mitisha kavim u'prisha." So a woman would rather have one kav of food and tiflis and relations, and then tisha kavim u'prisha. So let's see the Taisus, guys. He quotes Rabbeinu Chananel. Let's see Taisus. Writes the Isha b'kavit tiflois. Perish Rabbeinu Chananel writes the Isha shehei baila chamar, that a husband should be a wagon driver, a donkey driver, and therefore be matzi etzla b'chol Shabbos. Laseis la oinasa. The oina, the marrying a chamar is for once a week, and therefore you're not going to make so much money. Lo yavi lo yelakav chitim belvad. Rather than being a camel driver, goes right. So that's pshat. That's pshat over here. Woman would rather have a husband around, even though she has less money, than more money and more money and less husband. He used to say, Rabbi Yeshua used to say that what that chasher shaita v'rosh arum. Visha Prusha, Umakas Prushim, Harielu, Mivale Olam. All these people, the Rasha Arum, the Isha Prusha, Makas Prushim, they're Mavle Olam. Now we're going to explain what a Rasha Arum is, guys. What's a cunning Rasha? A Chassid Shaita. Hechidami Chassid Shaita, Mau Chassid Shaita, right? You're going to Katava Issa Benara, a woman's drowning in the river. Va'ama, Lav Oirich Aral is Takule Ba, Vitsule. It's not the way to go ahead and look at her and save her, right? It's not the way. So look at her and save her. That's what he says. That's what he says. So if you look at there's a big clash over there, guys. So Ilchari is not a shaita, he's a Russia. Guys, he's not a shaita, he's a Russia. Right? It's a Russia. Take a look at Tais. Hechidam Chasid Shaita, Yerushalmi, Rod Tinoik, Mevava Benar. He sees a Tinoik drowning in the river. He says, when we take out tefillin, then I'll go in the river. Now the guy dies. In other words, he has every kavana to go in, but it's on a cheshbon, a kruma cheshbon, right? He's a shaita. I'll save the kibbutz. I don't get my tefillin wet, right? I'm going to get my tefillin wet. So l'chayri, that's pshat over here. Doesn't mean that he's not going to save the woman. It's going to save her, but when dilly-dallying around, I'll find something that l'chayri, that would answer the question of what based upon a sefer called. I think, based upon a sefer called, I don't know, Shiurim HaGrisha, Yosef Shalom Al Yashav. That's what it is. Guy, Shalom Al Yashav, right? Going to Yashav. Okay, very good. Thank you, Hashem. Okay, very good. Now, says the Gemara Vaita, so that would be a chassid shaita. Good. Now, Hechi Domi Rasha Aram. What exactly would a Rasha Aram, a cunning Rasha, be? So now, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Zeh Hamatim Devarav, the Dayan. He places his words into the dayan. Now we know a dayan has to hear equal parties. So this guy is placing his taina before the other guy comes. Now I got a problem. So the dayan's also a Russia. the dying is not like Sisha Shemel Kim Lashav. I mean, this is the pasuk said. What's the lashon? And l'chayra. So that's the arum. That's the Russia arum over here. He did it like he's not going to count him in the case. He just like and he met him in the street and said, the story. He did it in a convoluted way. He did it in a convoluted way. So therefore, that would be a Russia arum according to Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Volama, another pshat in Russia arum. Now, what's an ani? In other words, we have this a cutoff point. The United States government has a cutoff point to get federal. There's a point. You make $1 more than that, you're out. It's a crazy thing. You make $199, just an ani. You make $200, shayna gavir, out. Right. So this guy, if you're an ani, you get leket shichlin pay. You get minus aniyim. So this guy gives him what? He gives him $1. Russia arum. The Prisha in Yeridea. Prisha in Yeridea is one of the Mefarshim on the tour. Yeridea, Reishnan Gimel. Kosev, Remezet, Tzedakah. The Gematria of Tzedakah is Kuf Sadik Tes, 199. The Gematria of Tzedakah, guys, it's Geshmak, is 199. So meaning, if you give one more, you don't need Tzedakah. Shine, so that's a Russia arum, Geshmak. That's a Russia arum. That nice and dinner. Lani lahashlam b'sayim zuz. Ditnan mishalosh nemetayim zuz layita laka shikul peyo ma'isani. Hoyla b'sayim chasadina afilu elef nice and laka achas. I was a yito, right? And anyway, so if metayim chasadina, then he gets the whole kit and caboodle. Ravasiyam Rabbi Yochanan zeha meisa eitza limcha bin chasamot. Okay, what's the halacha, guys? If a person dies and leaves an estate, so we know that the boys inherit it. And the girls get supported. We did ksubis get supported in the estate. What happens in the chasam mu'atim? Then the girls get supported by the chasam mu'atim, and the boys go door to door. What happens if the boys sell it? Then the girls finish, correct? Then the girls finish, right? She's out. So what's a Rosh Mesa Eitzo tells you, Simon, Limcha ben Chasam Muatim, sell it so you'll get the money, and meanwhile the girls will be at loss. Yisayim that go ahead and sell the Chasam Muatim, Masha Machru Machru, whatever the sale is a good sale, and the girls are out. That's a Rosh Aram. Abayu Amazeh, Amesi Eitzo Limcha ben Chasam Kreb Shimon Gamliel. That's someone who goes ahead and gives advice to sell the Chasim like a Shimon Gamliel. The Tanya, the Chasil Chavach Pliny, my Nechasim should be to you, and afterwards they should be in the so and so. So in other words, as long as you're alive, they belong by you. Once you die, it's going to a third party. So Reuven gives the Shimon, Levi is getting it. He's on the route now. So now the Yerid Rishon comes along Shimon Umacha. He sells it v'achal and eats up everything. Hasheni might see me at al kuches. According right, the Sheni Levi can go ahead and take it away from the kuches. The Rebbe. However, from Shimon Gamliel whatever the second one, the first one, whatever the first one left over, that's what the Sheni gets. If not, Levi will not get anything, right? He won't get anything. So therefore, a person gives an eitzah to Shimon to sell. He's a Rosh Aram because with his advice, he's being mafsid Levi. He's being mafsid Levi. He says to other people, "Rov asukim, do like me." And go like I do, right? Probably, guys, his inside is not like his outside. In other words, he'll tell him to do like me because he doesn't want people checking into himself. For himself, he's mekel, and he's machmar on other people. Ula Amar says shekara. Right, he learns Chumash v'Shana, he learns Mishnayos, but Shimish Talmidei Chachamim, and he's not Mishamish Talmidei Chachamim, right? Then he's considered, if he's not Mishamish Talmidei Chachamim, then he is considered a Rosh Aram. Says Rashi, Lil Might Svaris Hagamara B'Taimei HaMishnah Mahem. Rashahu, you know why he said Rasha? She'ein Tayrasai Al Burya. He would not understand Torah correctly, right? He won't understand Torah correctly. Then Lil Mighty Menu. And you can learn from him. The schus Tyrus, the tummy, the Torah, Kidama become duchte. My time on Mar Hachi, Umar Hachi, why you say this, why you say this? My binayu, what's the difference? It could be nayu, kach v'kach, v'ormhu. He's very cunning. Why? Sheshemeas koiloi, shoyne mishnah Yosef. People hear him learning kasava. Oh, he's baki, b'tameim, v'noig, b'kovid, k'tamid chachamim. So he does it to get covered, but not because he taka knows anything. Thank you all for listening.